Welcome, everybody, to the Formation Lap podcast with myself, Matt, and my friend Lucy. We are going to talk about the Chinese Formula One Grand Prix and the sprint. And we will briefly cover our Formula One Fantasy League. I forgot what the actual term is now. For anybody who's not joined us before, we are going to basically watch along, as it were, with the official Formula One YouTube channel highlights. So as we talk about timestamps and stuff like that, you'll be able to find it in the video, so that if you'd like to sort of see where we're at and take part in the conversation, you can find that timestamp and see what we're talking about. But shall we start? Let's get straight into this, because there's a lot to go over, because we had the sprint and the Grand Prix this week. And yeah, I think, if I remember correctly, did everybody start the sprint?
I don't actually know. I
know the sprint is the only race that Piastri has started. So we'll get to that, but I'm fairly sure everybody... I want to say everybody started it. Now I'm questioning myself. Let me check the results on the website, because I am now second-guessing myself. China, sprint, grid. Perez didn't set a time. Albon started from the pit lane. I remember that. Sprint. Finish. So we had 4 DNFs. That doesn't tell me if they all started. Let me play this forward. I want to say yes. I'm just going to commit and say everybody started the sprint. So, do you remember the sprint start?
No. I did not watch the sprint race, I just watched the highlights.
Okay. So, all the bits that we're going to talk about, you've seen before. Yeah. Immediately, I'm barely 8 seconds into this, or 2 seconds since they pulled away. Antonelli had another poor start and immediately got swamped. And the Ferraris had another lightning start. And if I remember correctly, yeah, Russell led into turn 1, followed by Norris, and then Hamilton going up the inside of Norris. And they were talking about Norris. I don't remember when I was which part I was watching, but the commentators were talking about Norris, and they're like, the last few Chinese Grand Prix, he's run wide in turn 1, and what did he do in the sprint? Run wide into turn 1 and let Hamilton up the inside. It was good to see the McLarens back fighting at the front, though, because we'd not seen much of Norris in Australia, and we hadn't seen anything of Piastri so far, because obviously he'd been on the way to the grid.
Yeah.
So coming out of, I don't know what turn that is, 4 maybe? We've got Russell, Hamilton, Norris, Leclerc, Piastri, by the looks of it. Somehow Gasly up in P7. I don't know how the Alpine suddenly found a turn of speed, but yeah, especially after last year. And then I saw bodywork.
I really have no memory of the sprint race. I remember nothing.
Neither do I. That's why I use the highlights. So who was sending bodywork flying? Oh, that was Antonelli on one of the Red Bulls. I forget which one. It didn't say. Oh, and then Leclerc's past Norris here for P3. Oh, and then Hamilton straight into the lead. So almost a carbon copy of what happened in Australia. The Ferrari started well, got past Russell, straight into the lead. And then if I remember correctly, they had a back and forth a little bit, and then it kind of settled down again. Oh, and there's a backwards facing Racing Bulls. I think we've got another case of the sprints don't really give much. They're trying to do a sprint in an endurance championship, and I still don't think it's given us anything new other than a bit of racing.
I think that's a good point.
I said this before, and we've talked about the sprint before. It doesn't really give anything. Everybody gets off the line. Most of the time, everybody sort of settles into position. And that's kind of it.
Yeah.
They are these cars this year seem to be able to overtake, but that is kind of it. There's not much more to say. I don't think anything spectacular happened. I'm going to play through the highlights, see if anything comes up.
Sure.
But I think
most exciting F1 sprint race.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like the sprints are only interesting if people are having some sort of issue, like a crash or a collision or a breakdown or something.
Or if it's wet
or
like
running
that.
wide. Yeah.
I think it was the commentators or what. I think it might have been Crofty on Sky. He said if the sprint was maybe 2 or 3 laps longer, I think it would get more interesting. Because those on the soft tyres would start to run out of tyre, like properly run out of tyre. Meaning that there's a bit more skill involved with starting on the soft.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like the race is just short enough for that not to be a problem.
Yeah.
So you don't gain anything from starting on the soft. Looking at the timing tree here, everybody did start the race.
Good.
Race that's not a race, but is a race.
Yay!
I wish they would just accept the fact that it's a sprint race. Because it's a race. They are racing. Like, come on. We are 2 minutes into this and there's still not much happening. I do remember, was it a safety car? Because we had some rare tyre changes in this race. That's not a race. I do remember that. The race that's not a race. Yeah, so Russell got back past Hamilton, and then it was Russell, Hamilton, Leclerc. With Antonelli fighting his way back up. Hamilton back into the lead again. The McLarens were fighting each other, and then inevitably Antonelli passed a lot of them back into P2. So I think that's how that went. And then he's up to P4. I'm just scrubbing through it now. Because it was much more of the same as a lot of what happened here happened in the race as well, so I don't want to cover too much ground twice.
Yeah.
And Antonelli, yeah, and again, similar to Australia. There we go. So it was similar to Australia where the Ferrari started well, and then Antonelli started poorly and ended up towards the back end of the top 10, and then fought his way all the way back up to the front. And then the only real thing of note was lap 13, where Hulkenberg just pulled up at the end of the pit straight and just parked it on the track, and this is where we got the safety car from. And then Lindblad had some retirement from some contact earlier on, I think it was. So this is where we started to get, we had the full safety car. And I think that's because they had to put a tractor out on track, pick Hulkenberg up and drag him off.
Right.
Which it makes sense rather than doing a virtual safety car. And then we had double stacking from the top 3 teams. So at this point, it's Russell, Antonelli, Leclerc, Hamilton, Norris, Piastri. They're all running 2x2. Like Noah's Ark.
Noah's Ark.
Yeah. You can't avoid that analogy. But then, because Mercedes were so close together when they came in, Antonelli dropped behind one of the McLarens, I think that was. Sorry, it's hopped into a different replay now. It's hard to... This is hard to do because I don't have any sound. And then lap 17. There we go. Oh, Antonelli and Piastri. So we're now running... So after the safety car and the stops, we're now running Russell, Leclerc, Norris, Hamilton, Lawson, Behrman, Piastri, and Antonelli. So Antonelli dropped all the way down to P8 after the round of stops. And then it's kind of telling with the highlights. Oh, he ran wide on the restart, so Piastri got past him. That's kind of telling on the highlights that they kind of skipped to the end of the race. There's not much else happening. Russell, Leclerc, Hamilton were the top 3 in the end. But that's not what we're here for. The race. The race. And it got interesting before the race even started. With McLaren, both McLarens retiring before the race had even started.
It was a surprise, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, like, it was one of those things where I just tuned into the replay and sorry, I'm so tired. the overhead like drone thing was coming along and it panned across the grid and I could see there were like 2 empty grid slots. And then I was like, what's that? That was my exact reaction.
Yeah, so these early morning races for us in the UK, this was, what was it, 7 a.m. race, something like that. I was like, I'm not getting up for that. I've got Sky, so I'm like, I'll record it, I'll get up at whatever time I get up. I think it was 9 o'clock, and then I'll put it on.
I have work on Saturdays as well, Saturday nights till 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you'll be all right when we get to Vegas.
Oh yeah.
So I load it up where they do the Formula One intro titles, and then Crofty takes over, and then he does all these intro bits about the track and the tyres, blah blah blah, and he runs through the grid. And it's like, no McLarens. I'm like, what? Like, because I've not seen anything before this.
It's the way he says it so casually.
Well, at that point, they've been talking about it on the pre-race build-up, which I've obviously not seen any of, because I'm not going to watch another hour's worth of stuff before watching the race when I'm already behind.
Yeah.
So yeah, they said on the broadcast, they said it was the first double did not start for McLaren since Indianapolis 2005.
And we all know what happened in Indianapolis.
I was going to say, people at Neutral Sport might not have known what happened in.
Even I know this one.
Oh well.
But we can elaborate for anyone here who might not know.
I don't know whether they called it Tiregate or not. Was that before they called everything something gate?
Yeah, I feel like Crashgate was the first F1 gate.
I think that was the first one, yeah. So
Crashgate was the
this one was, it was Bridgestone and Michelin. We had 2 tyre manufacturers at that point. I think it was 3 teams ran. I forget which way round it was, actually, now I think about it.
I can't Google. If I turn off this page, we're dead.
Doesn't matter. One or the other, can't remember which, basically said the banked turn at Indianapolis, we don't think our tyres will last the entire race. We think they'll just give up. So we don't recommend you drive on them, basically. So the entire grid, bar the other tyre runners, all came in at the end of the formation lap and retired, and the race had 6 cars in it. If you've not seen it, go and look it up, because it
was quite the...
Formula One has had some quite embarrassing things happen to it, and this is up there. This is in the top 3 at least. The other one being 2021, but we don't talk about that. So, yeah, McLaren's had a rough start to the season, especially if your name is Piastri, because he's had 2 did not starts so far. He's not started a Grand Prix yet this season. And I think most mind-blowing about this entire thing is the fact that the 2 McLarens had the same issue but for different reasons. So they both had electrical issues, but they weren't the same electrical issue.
Lightning doesn't strike twice, or whatever the phrase is.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, someone's using chat. It's popping up.
It's possibly the dumbest race I watched. Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the stupidest things Formula One ever. The fact that they went ahead with that as well instead of delaying it or trying to get some other solution is beyond me. So yeah, it was. Yeah. So
crazy stuff.
Shall we get to the actual race now? We're 20 minutes in.
Yes, let's.
Now that we've had both McLarens retire, which is it's a shame because in the sprint they were both showing pace, which is it's a shame. I think they've got pace. Yeah. I think that McLaren's got pace, and it seemed to get better this weekend. So I think they will get it better. Obviously, they've got a good engine package with the Mercedes engine, but they've just got to get it together. Yeah. So same again from the start. Both Ferraris passed both. Both Ferraris passed both Mercedes into turn one. And with both McLarens retiring, Gasly finds himself in P5, which is kind of wild, especially considering how Alpine were last year. They seem to have got it together so far. I wonder how much of that is them being carried by Mercedes engine. Because this is you have to remember they switched from the Renault engine from last year, didn't they? Which is kind of ironic considering they are Renault. So yeah. But yeah, it seems to be paying off for them either way. And then I remember, Hadjar had a moment, didn't he? Right at the start. So we're running McLaren. So we're running Hamilton, Russell, Leclerc, and Antonelli. And I was fully expecting... No, this is where Antonelli started from pole. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
Hamilton, Antonelli, Leclerc, Russell.
Okay.
Yeah. What am I talking about? And then the thing that I remember...
The Alpines were like just below, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the thing I remember from lap 1 is in P6 and 7 is Ollie Behrman and Isaac Hadjar fighting... I think it was Hadjar. Yeah, because Verstappen had another poor start and dropped out of the top 10. This happened for him. So him and Antonelli have been having really poor starts, although Antonelli seemed to get it together for the actual race, which is good, considering he was starting on pole. The thing I remember from this is Hadjar and Behrman going at it, Hadjar getting past, and then just having a high-speed spin before the back straight. Just all on his own. Just the back end stepped out and just around he went.
The thing I remember is the onboard of Verstappen's start.
Yeah, he just got absolutely swamped by everyone.
Which must be, I think they said it on the commentary as well, it must be the worst feeling. Like all that work you put in quali, all that work you're about to have to do in the race to get past all of these back markers.
If you're looking at the highlights, 1 minute and 10, Verstappen's start is on the highlights. And I think it was the same as Australia. He sort of went to pull away and the car just went, nah. It just didn't move. Oh, and then you know you're having a bad day when you're at the back of the grid, brand new team, still trying to get your feet under the table and join everybody, and then you run into your teammate in turn 2. So yeah, you could be having a worse day, but it's not as bad as Perez.
Oh god.
Yeah, I don't. Guy. Yeah, I don't think that was his fault. I think Bottas got squeezed on the outside and sort of pushed to the inside, and then he didn't realize. Well, whether or not he realized Perez was there or not, he just had nowhere to go.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of early race lap 1 stuff, right?
Like, yeah, I think Perez got a penalty for it in the end.
Yeah. Oh no, it was no further investigation, wasn't it?
Yeah, possibly.
I'm pretty sure it was. And I remember thinking, well, that's probably because Cadillac were like, no problem here. It's all good.
That's usually the way it goes with teammates hitting teammates, though.
Yeah.
I think the FIA understands that it'll be dealt with internally.
Yeah.
So it's
and it's like they've clearly only hurt themselves or their teammate, you know? Like
Yeah, exactly. So here we go.
They've clearly not done it intentionally.
Yeah. Yeah, so now we're getting up to lap we're now running Antonelli, Russell, Hamilton, Leclerc. And we've got another repeat of the Ferraris start well, and then for some reason they just get immediately passed by the Mercedes.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether that's the Ferraris are slow or the Mercedes are fast. I don't know, but they just seem to be able to breeze past the Ferraris once they've. And it seems to ebb and flow, but ultimately the Mercedes seem to get past the Ferrari and stay there. So I don't know whether that's how that's going to go long term, but we'll see. We'll see if they can get it together, because you have to remember these are all brand new cars, so they're all going to be developing them. They're going to be working on them. They're going to get faster, and it'll work itself out eventually. Lap 10, we had Stroll retire, unsurprisingly. Aston Martins have not had the best. Did you see the onboard from Alonso from this weekend?
I will have. I just don't know which one you're referring to.
So they were talking about the vibrations, and there's an onboard of him, and he just keeps taking his hands off the steering wheel because of the vibrations, and I think that's ultimately why he retired, because he didn't have feeling in his hands. And if you if you watch the onboard, you can see how much the camera is violently shaking.
Yeah,
it's kind of unnerving, because those cameras will all have stabilization of some description.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Honda seemed to, as much as Honda have said, they're not going to run a lot because the risk of nerve damage, it seems like they've been downselling it ever so slightly as well. So yeah, Honda are not having a good time. Stroll retired again, so double DNF for Aston Martin again. And then,
I mean, not gonna lie, I was kind of enjoying the Aston Martin downfall this weekend, purely because I just took them out of my. Or did I? Did I not?
We'll talk about that.
I thought I had. Oh no!
We'll get to the Fantasy League in a little bit.
Oh no! Oh no!
Anyway, safety car comes out again, because obviously we got to crane a car off track. This time, unlike Australia, the two Ferraris actually stopped. So they seem to have learned their lesson from last time, at least. It didn't help them, but they actually pit this time.
Oh, pit stopped, yeah.
And then we had some hard lap. So this is where it got a little bit more interesting in terms of the actual racing, because they had some hard lap starters in the form of Colapinto and Ocon running in the top 3 after everybody else had stopped. So now you've got, this is where your offset strategy comes in, and things get a little bit more interesting. These cars do seem to be able to race and follow each other and pass each other.
Yeah.
They don't all get stuck in DRS trains, so this kind of, I feel like this is going to open up tyre strategy a little bit more. Because before, it used to be you would get on a different tyre strategy, but if you got stuck in a DRS train, you were never ever going to be able to make up the time. So you could never do what people used to do and go a medium and then 2 softs or something like that and just pass everyone on track with the extra speed. You got stuck in DRS trains and you couldn't pass anyone, so you couldn't. It didn't work. Whereas now I feel like people might be more willing to roll the dice and do different tyre strategies.
Yeah.
Because one of the ones I remember back from when Hamilton was at McLaren, and I don't remember what year it was, Canada, and he was running in the lead, and he switched to a 2-stop from the lead, and everybody else stayed on a 1-stop. Literally everybody else stayed on a 1-stop. It was either 2 or 3, I can't remember. And everybody else stayed on 1-stop less than him, so he dropped into like P4 or 5 or something like that. And he had to storm back through the field and pass everyone, and he did, to take the win. And I think we might see more of that now.
And that's good. I think that's an exciting
Yeah.
thing to have happen. Like we don't really like the DRS train. It's a bit boring. So
Yeah. And that, like, we've had years of Formula One races without any racing.
yeah.
It was all just a procession, which was really boring. It's hard to talk about the race here because last year we just pick out individual overtakes here and there, and there'd be DRS passes and pit stops and everything. It's like there's so many overtakes going on now. We can't talk about all of them because we will be here all night and Lucy will fall asleep.
I will fall asleep. I think I need like Subway Surfers at the side of the screen or something.
Just to keep your attention. Because
yeah.
I'm watching this and after the round of pit stops, Russell dropped back to P4 because I think double stacking and everything again. And you've got Leclerc in front of Hamilton. So it's Antonelli, Leclerc, Hamilton, Russell. And we know that that's not the order they finished in. And the Ferraris, both of them, after this race, they were fighting with each other for quite a long time. And both of them said they really enjoyed it. And it was another case of they were overtaking each other almost every lap. Because, and I know people don't like the whole battery conversation. But the fact that you've got the overtake button and all of this other stuff and deployment and everything, it brings in a little bit of strategy of where do you deploy to defend, where do you deploy to overtake, and all of this other stuff. And you have to do it at the right time and leave yourself enough to be able to defend again. Otherwise, the other person just comes straight back past you. And it's bringing in actual racing again.
Yeah.
Because we've seen it in both races and a little bit in the sprint. One car will pass the other, and then the other will immediately take them back again within a lap or on the same lap.
Yeah.
And this is what we're here for. Actual racing. Cars overtaking each other, not just sat in a long DRS train. So I'm here for this. I quite enjoyed this race. This race that actually was a race rather than the sprint that wasn't a race but is a race.
It feels a lot like I know, like we both know, and people that have listened to us a lot before will know that both of us do quite enjoy British touring cars.
Yes.
We really like British touring cars. And I was actually talking with my lovely boyfriend the other day about F1, and he was saying, he finds it really exciting how they're able to kind of do a lot of overtaking and, come back on each other. And it feels like he's almost watching a different series.
Yeah.
And I said, absolutely. I've had a similar feeling. It reminds me of watching British touring cars, weirdly enough. Like the cars look completely different, but it does remind me of that raw racing feels like it's coming back a little bit more. And it's, like, I feel like that's where the enjoyment comes from. Like, it's all fun and games trying to see who's the best constructor or whatever. But it's not fun when someone just drives it off into the sunset. It's fun when you've got two different teams battling for first.
It's a good point, though, because at this point in the race, Antonelli has driven away, and we don't see him again till the end of the race.
Yeah.
And I've said this before. I don't care if we get a team dominate or a driver dominate. Absolutely fine. As long as the rest of the field has a good race.
Yeah. And what was really fun as well about Kimi being off in the distance is the fact that it was Kimi Antonelli. Like, that's a rookie. Well, not a rookie anymore, but he's just a boy, He's a teenager, and he's out there driving this super fast rocket ship of a Formula One car, using a whole new type of car that he's not used to, with this energy management thing that he's doing incredibly well. He's got all the nerves of being on for his first ever win in Formula One, which is like his life dream. And there's the fact that, I mean, we saw it later on in the race. He ran wide, like mistakes can happen. And, the fact that he was able to so consistently continue to maintain his energy, keep it on the track, keep a cool head, just bring it home safely. That was exciting to watch. Even though we weren't actually watching him, it was still exciting to know that all of that was going on.
Yeah, and it's a
in
classic,
that helmet,
It's a classic. It's not over till it's over. Like, you have to cross the finish line. And famously, within the World Endurance Championship,
Oh no, I didn't say about
Toyota.
this one.
Do you remember? It was about
I
2015
remember
or
this. Is
so.
it? Oh, I
Toyota
thought it
were
was more
on.
recent.
No, I think it was about 2015 or so.
I thought it was like 2023. Are we talking about Kubica or is that something else?
No.
Oh,
So we go all the way back
You
to
go.
when Toyota were the only manufacturer, I think, at the time. Or it was just before the last manufacturer left. Something like that. I can't remember exactly. But they were on for their first Le Mans 24-hour victory. Like their overall victory. And they've been fighting all these years against Audi, I think, with the other team that was still in it at the time. And they'd got all this way. Final lap down the Mulsanne straight, and the car gave up on them on the final lap.
Yeah.
And it's a classic case of it's not over until you cross the line. And for Anton Elliott, but the same thing. You still have to cross the line to take the win.
Yeah.
I also want to highlight, we're talking about the racing and the back and forth and everything. I was playing through the highlights here. And between lap 24 and 27 was Leclerc, Hamilton and Russell just fighting with each other for second place. And the highlights gave into turn 1 and through turn like 3 and 4 and that sort of complex. And now the end of the same lap as a highlight of them still fighting each other. Like, this is completely unheard of because it used to be, yeah, they just came down the straight and then one of them passed under DRS. So lap 29, the three of them are still running together. Like, this is completely unheard of in Formula One. We're finally going back to where we were talking about the switchback. If anybody even knows what that is, because new Formula One fans probably haven't seen that before. Because we've had so many years of DRS trains. Oh, and then further back we had, I think this was Ocon and Colapinto coming together.
I found it. 2021, I was thinking about with World Endurance Championship.
What happened in 2021?
So it was Robert Kubica and Louis Delatraz and Yifei? I don't know. Yifei.
That's the number.
So 8. I wasn't watching.
So for anyone who's not familiar with those names, it's the customer Ferrari, which is visually number 83 and the yellow one. Anyway, carry on.
I think it was 41 that year.
That's what they are now. I think they've got the same driver actually. Anyway.
Yeah. So, long story short, blah 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 blah. They did very well. Blah 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 blah. It was Ye's first ever Le Mans, 24 Hours of Le Mans as well.
Yeah.
And they were in the lead, and then the engine broke down on the final lap.
I think I remember.
Literally the final lap. And while I was just Googling it to check that I was not going crazy, it turns out the commentators were actually just talking about the Toyota thing that you've just explained. The commentators were bringing that up and doing the whole, it's not over till they cross the line thing and saying, blah, 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 Toyota.
Race.
And then the camera just cuts to their car slowing down.
It's happened so many times in the World Endurance Championship as well because Peugeot were on for their first podium in 2024, I think it was. First race of the season, Qatar, 2020. I think it was 2024. First podium. They're running in P2, so not just P3 for their first podium. P2. Start of the final lap, the car just conks out on the start-finish line. And they just come over the line and just park it on the pit straight.
My gosh.
So, us who've been watching the World Endurance Championship know full well it is not over until you cross the line.
I'm just looking at this now. That's insane. That's insane.
What, the Peugeot?
The Toyota.
Oh, yeah. On the Mulsanne straight, halfway around the last lap. Their first overall win at Le Mans. I don't know whether it was overall win in the World Endurance Championship, but yeah. I think that year they were running P1 and 2 and both cars broke down on the final lap.
Deary me.
And I think that was the first time a non-hybrid car got on the podium as well after the hypercar had been introduced. Because at that point, I think, if I remember correctly, at that point we had hypercars, then LMP1, and then we still had LMP2, and then the GT cars. Should we go back to the actual Formula One?
Yes, on topic. We love racing, guys. I'm sorry.
This says a lot because we're now getting excited about the Formula One racing because it's actual racing again.
Yes, that's true.
It's fantastic. I'm getting excited about the actual racing again.
You know what's crazy? A lot of the time, like in the last few years, it's kind of felt a little bit like I haven't been as excited about F1. Like I definitely in 2020 and 2021. And I would literally, like, you know, I'd have a whiteboard and I'd write down when the next race was going to be. And, you know, I'd be thinking about it for days. Like, I was back in school in 2021, which is crazy. And I remember the day when Pierre Gasly won at Monza in 2020. And I remember sitting in class that day and just smiling. I couldn't stop grinning. I was literally just there, like every 5 seconds it would just hit me what had happened. I was like, oh my god. And now it's like I've seen people get their first wins and whatnot. It just doesn't spark the same joy. And I feel like Antonelli's first win finally brought a little bit, like when Norris or Piastri got their first win, it wasn't giving that, and Antonelli's win felt exciting. It feels like F1 is exciting again.
I think see, this is the thing. Both Piastri and Norris had their first wins in the ground effects cars, where overtaking and passing and actual racing didn't happen.
Yeah.
Whereas we watched this off the line and we know Antonelli had to get it right, and we know he's had bad starts before, and he still had to pass. No, I think he got away into the lead and then just stayed there for the entire race. But behind, we've seen in the sprint and in Australia where Russell didn't necessarily hold the lead and one of the Ferraris took it and they had to pass again. And actually, I think a lot of people expected Russell just to come off the line from P4 and just pass him.
Yeah.
But I think some of it he got held up by the Ferraris, and Russell just didn't have the speed this weekend. Antonelli was absolutely on it.
He was on it. He's locked in.
Yeah.
He reached flow state. I was so happy. I was like, oh my god, Antonelli's in flow state. The commentators were trying to describe this feeling of when you everything's just going. Like you've got these 100 things going on in your mind and you're just doing it. You just dial in. That's flow state, guys.
The modern term for it, I think people usually use is you just locked in.
Yeah. But flow state is another one.
Yeah. So I'm still flicking through the highlights, and Hamilton and Leclerc on lap 39 are still racing each other,
which was so fun.
The highlights started at lap 24.
It's crazy.
So I think a lot.
Can I add something on the Hamilton Leclerc battle? It was really fun to watch them. I said to my boyfriend, because we watched it together, and I was like, oh my god, we're going to be in for a season with these two, because they'd raced a bit in Australia as well, but you never know if that's going to be representative. But by the time it's 2 in a row, and the fact they were just racing for the whole race was so fun. But I think the absolute cherry on top of this battle was when Leclerc came on the radio and said, I'm having fun, or like, this is, I enjoyed that. Like, that to me, that made me, that hyped me up even more, because I was like, we're racing, you know? Like,
we've seen a little bit of this before, when I can't remember when it was, but Hamilton was racing Alonso, and it was mid-pack, and I don't remember what year it was. And they just, lap after lap, they were both trying to pass each other, and it was fair but hard racing. And the one thing that hasn't happened yet is, other than the two Ferraris touching tyres a little bit, nobody's had a crash with each other. And there's a certain Dutchman who retired from this race, not present. That's all I'm going to say, because I'm going to get people mad. Speaking of Verstappen, he has just got to lap 46 and he did retire. I don't know what.
Bless him. I feel really bad for Max. Like, bless him.
I don't remember what his issue was. Interesting. So I've just got to the end of the highlights, because obviously there's a lot of racing going on, and you should definitely go and watch the highlights if you haven't seen the race, because you'll see all the overtakes that happened. Antonelli's lockup's not in here.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a testament to how fun the race was, right?
Well, I know they obviously must limit this to about 8 minutes or so for the highlights, but there's way more going on than that. So I think they're just time constrained.
Yeah, you know, sometimes when there's a really good race and Formula One, like 3 years later, drops an extended highlights.
Yeah.
I feel like we could get that for that.
I think we could get that every race this year.
We could. You know, well, my favourite race of all time was the 2019 German Grand Prix. The wet one.
Oh, is that the one where Hamilton... Oh, is that
it
the one where they all ran off into the the sort of drag racing thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
the drag strip, and then like Hulkenberg was on for his podium, and then just touched it a tiny bit, and off he went. Leclerc went off, and it was just who can stay on the track, and it was
I remember that because
it pitted and the whole order flipped. I was like, oh.
And yeah, it's kind of sad because the most exciting races that we always talk about are the wet ones. I'm kind of interested to see how these cars go in the wet, because the ground effects cars were really bad for it because of the way that the cars were designed, they were picking up all of the water, throwing it all up into the air from aerodynamics, don't mind the actual tires, and you just couldn't see anything. So it wasn't the fact that it was too wet to drive the cars; it was too wet because you couldn't see anything, and I think a lot of people didn't understand that.
Yeah.
And I think this year will be better because the tyres are a bit smaller, the cars are a bit smaller, and the cars aren't designed to pull the water off the ground and throw it in the air because of their aerodynamics.
Yeah.
So yeah, Antonelli's first win, and I don't think there's a single person in the paddock or who likes Formula One that did not like that as a first win. It's the meme. Everybody liked this.
Yep. Literally.
Absolutely. Exactly. Every single person liked this one. And there was a few jokes going around about Toto's 3 Mercedes drivers on the podium, with Hamilton being P3.
Yeah, it was a very Bono podium.
It was, especially I think it helped with Hamilton having his first podium for Ferrari this weekend as well. So he had Antonelli's first win and Hamilton's first podium for Ferrari.
Yeah, it's like you didn't know where to look even in the podium. Like you didn't know where to look in the race. You didn't know where to look in the podium.
Yeah, exactly. So I said this last week when we spoke about the race. I think we're on for a good season, just racing wise. Never mind actual championship. But I think we might be on for a good championship, especially if McLaren can get their shit together. And so can Ferrari. If Ferrari can find some race pace, I think we're on for a very good season. On your bingo card for this year, did you have Cadillac finishes has a double car finish earlier than I think it was McLaren, Red Bull, Audi, and Williams? I bet you also didn't have Haas. I bet you didn't have Haas in P4 above Red Bull. Although all of Haas's points are from Behrman. Ocon is yet to score. And, most interestingly, Oscar Piastri is 12th in the overall standings, despite having not started a Grand Prix yet.
That's really interesting, and that took me a second to process that one.
Somebody said that as well, and I was like, wait, how? It's like, sprint. Yeah, he scored in the sprint, so he's third overall without having started a race. Oh, that went down the wrong way. Oh, that's the downside about doing this live. So.
See, we're live, guys. This isn't a pre-recorded thing.
Definitely not. Right. Shall we talk about our fantasy F1 league?
I'd love to.
So, our top 3 has changed, but our P1 has not. So, Nick is still in the lead, followed by Caitlin, who is now up to P2, and then we've got Ethan up into P3. Let's talk about you first, who still has Fernando Alonso on her team. On double points, I might add.
I put Alonso on double points.
Alonso is still on double points. You haven't changed. I don't think you changed him compared to last race. You are.
I changed something. Right? You saw me do it.
I think so, yeah, because you have Ferrari and Mercedes as your 2 constructors.
Yeah.
So you are fully being carried by Ferrari and Mercedes here, because you scored 284 points this weekend.
Yeah.
You are now not last. You are now 16th out of 18. So we've had one more person join.
Still kind of sucks. That still kind of sucks.
You are still quite far down.
Still sucks. I was about to be like, 200 points. I'm in the top 10 now. No.
Because our top runner at the moment is 688.
I'm getting rid of Alonso immediately.
Yeah, you kind of need to. I am now P5, so I've made a proper leap up.
It's rigged. That's what it is.
I got let down by Bortoletto.
Oh, no.
And I made 4 changes, so I had a penalty of 20 points.
That's probably why I didn't swap out Alonso. I probably focused on swapping the teams out, because I think I had... My teams were like Aston Martin and Williams or something.
Aston Martin, Cadillac, knowing you. So,
probably.
I made some changes as well, so I made a good chunk haul of points. It's going to be an interesting season. People are starting to make changes now as values change, and we start to understand who's going to score. So put it this way: in our top 5, all but 1 have Ferrari and Haas as their manufacturers.
Oh.
And the one other person has Haas and Mercedes. So it seems like Ferrari and Mercedes are definitely the point scorers, obviously with their drivers as well, because they've not had any retirements yet. But that will happen. They're going to retire at some point. I don't think they're going to be bulletproof for the entire season. So anybody who's not got them, it'll come back. So yeah, 20. I think it's going to be 22 more races. 22. No, hang on, 21. Maths. Don't know. Because we're going to lose out on, I think, Qatar and Bahrain being cancelled, aren't they?
Oh no! Why don't there's Saudi Arabia and Bahrain?
So Saudi Arabia. Yes, yeah. Qatar's at the end. Qatar's
later on, isn't it?
Yeah, so Saudi Arabia and Bahrain because of what's going on in Iran at the moment. So I think we're on for a 22 race season. I think it is.
I think it's the right decision to do that.
Oh yeah. You're absolutely stupid to go and try and race out there. It's not worth the risk. I don't think, with the way that the calendar's packed this year, the FIA are not looking to replace those 2 races. I think they're just straight up cancelled.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't think there's anywhere in the calendar to fit them in unless you start.
I still think we have too many races on the calendar.
Yeah, so yeah, it is what it is. But it means 2 less weekends for scoring points. So you need to go out and swap Alonso for somebody else.
I'm going to do that now. As soon as we finish, I'm going to go swap him out.
Yeah.
Get rid of him immediately.
Anybody who's not joined our league, there is the link in the description of this chat on this podcast on YouTube. And then the Discord, Lucy's Discord, is there as well. So if you want to join our discussion about Formula One, there's a lot of Lego discussions going on at the moment. And the Fantasy League as well. The links are all down there. Join up, talk to us. We both frequent there as well. And I think that's about everything. I think Formula One's a good place. I know there's a lot of chatter about battery management and all the rest of it, but I said this.
That's fun. I like it.
I said it. I said this last week. It brings an element of strategy that the drivers have to deal with, as well as the team and the tyres and everything. The racing is good, especially compared to last year. It wasn't exactly a high bar. And I think, I said this earlier, I think it's going to let tyre strategy be more of a thing. I think with the ability to actually pass on track, I think we might see a few more bold tyre strategies go on. So, I think we're on for a good season. Your predictions are looking worse by the race, and your fantasy picks are terrible. So, but at least you can change your fantasy picks.
They're not as bad as they were last week.
No, well, this is it. It can all change because if you remember, Ferrari running in P2 overall last season and finished P4 overall. So again, we said it earlier. It's not over till it's over. So
exactly,
we will keep following. We are both very excited about the actual races. The next one being Japan in 2 weeks, I think it is. So yeah, I always enjoy Japan. I'm actually looking forward to Japan this year. The one Japan last year was very boring, and I regretted getting up early to watch it. Because no matter what, even previous years when we've had ground effects cars, Japan has always been a great circuit. I really like Suzuka as a track. It's one of the old school tracks. Playing it on video games, it's always fun to drive, especially 130R. And I think it's going to be very exciting this year because A, we're going to get cars will pass each other. And B, we're going to see cars that have less downforce try and take 130R flat out. I'm curious to see whether they can take it flat out. In a similar vein, actually, we might see what happens at Spa, whether they can take the corner whose name escapes me all of a sudden for some reason. Eau Rouge, flat out. So that should be interesting too when we get there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I am excited. Okay, right. Before we're going to ramble too much, I'm going to ramble too much, and you need to go and swap out Alonso. So we're going to stop there. Thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you in 2 weeks' time after Japan.
And the Madrid Prix. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for watching and listening. Bye.